Hi, welcome to my garden. Today is Saturday and you know what that means. We're going to do a quick tour of this garden, then we're going to go to you and celebrate what's going on in your garden. And this week we're going to look at the fast growing plants of July. That way you can get a garden in and still have a harvest by fall. So come on, let's take a look. Even if you've been succession planting, most likely your spring radishes are gone. It's too hot for your snap peas. Your cilantro bolted, went to seed, and you're even collecting those seeds. But here are a couple of really fast-growing vegetables to plant in early summer. One of the things I'm a big advocate for is not leaving holes in your garden. So whenever you harvest something, you want to have something planned to go back in that space. Not only to make the most of your garden, but to keep the life in that soil. As all gardeners know, anytime you've got an open area, something's going to fill it. That ground wants to stay covered. So let's take a look at a couple fast-growing vegetables you can plant in July. Bush beans are a great example of what you can plant right now. They come up pretty fast. You'll be able to start harvesting within 50 to 60 days. You're going to be able to harvest right up to frost. Our purple beans from Florida are starting to come on. Speaking of Florida, let's go on down and see what's going on in Bruce's garden. Bruce's Orlando food forest is thriving. Mangoes by the box full. Your avocados will be ripe soon. Is that a dragon fruit? And homegrown pineapples. Bruce, Maylene, this is fantastic. Thank you. Bruce, that's fantastic. But that just shows that everybody's got a little different climate. Here in Zone 7, A/B, depending on which map I look at, it's been a while since we've had a cool, rainy July. It's happened before. I'd rather take this than last year where we were under water restrictions because the water tower broke and it was pretty hot last summer, and it can still turn off hot. But for right now, we're enjoying the glorious weather. Let's take a look at a couple more of our friends and neighbors around the world. Nora sent in a few lovely images of her flowers as she's having coffee this morning, just to brighten our day. Thank you, Nora. These are beautiful. Rick's North Carolina garden is producing some awesome vegetables. He started canning peppers while waiting on the tomatoes to turn. Excellent harvest, Rick, as always. Thank you. Aren't those absolutely incredible? I invite you to join us. We're a loose-knit community that like to get our hands dirty and grow things that taste good. All you have to do is email me at waylandsmalley5@gmail.com. The address is in the description box below, and I guarantee all their gardeners would love to see what you're doing in your garden. After all, this is where we get ideas. This is where we get motivation. This is where we get inspiration. Let's go ahead and take a look at a couple more. Denise's wall of flowers is now in full bloom, and the morning glories are vining nicely. I knew there was going to be color, but this is wonderful. Bringing in fresh cut flowers only brightens the day. Thank you, Denise. Art wanted to let us know the hardest work you do in the deep mulch garden now is harvest. Looking good, Art. I see salsa in the future. Marie from Jamaica sent us an update on her container garden. I put a link to her channel in the description box below. What she has accomplished in just containers alone is great. Thank you, Marie. The ingenuity of our friends and neighbors are absolutely incredible. And back to fast-growing things you can plant right now, we planted beets and onions in amongst our tomatoes. And since we keep them pruned up, and you can see why with the rain that we've had, even these bottom leaves are starting to get some brown on them. But that keeps this open down here, and you got plenty of space to go ahead and companion plant. And on our list, beets and onions grow pretty quick. There's obviously root crops that germinate pretty well in the heat, and they improve as it cools off in the fall. Has anybody ever said you can't have enough beets? Turnips we just put in. Carrots are a little challenging in the heat of the summer to get started. Summer carrots that didn't get eaten by the, look at this. We're going to have to replant some because of slugs. And we have a succession of beets right in here along the edge of our sweet potato patch. You know, we're still picking daikon radishes. And you definitely want to get another row of radishes in. You can start harvesting within 25 days of sowing. And of course your basil, you see right here, is big enough, it's got a nice split. You pinch that off right there, put this in water. In just a week or so, you'll have roots and you can get that going again in the garden. You have some fast-growing herbs like basil, dill, and cilantro. It'd be a good idea to take advantage of a 2-week interval throughout the summer. Basil and dill will die back at the frost, but cilantro is a very cold-hardy plant. The cilantro is definitely going to seed. Time to plant more. And if you have space on a trellis, cucumbers are great right now. They germinate and come up very quickly in this warm weather, and then they produce right up to frost. As we go ahead and harvest, sometimes they hide pretty well. I think this one's a little big. Well, sometimes they hide pretty well. And while we're picking monsters like this, let's get the second round of summer squash in. Summer squash is a great example. We've already planted some, and we're going to plant some more in mid-July. This is one great strategy to get away from the squash bugs and the vine borers. Later in the summer puts it outside of their life cycle, and they will produce right up till frost. Because it doesn't matter how diligent you are, and I don't know if we're going to be able to save this. I don't think so. Vine borers will get in there. Although we're starting to get some yellow on several of these, I think we're going to have a nice little harvest. I want to get this before it becomes a monster. Let's go ahead and take a look at a couple more of our friends and neighbors around the world. Mike and Linda had a little different week. They had a bunch of honeybees take up residence in their duck box. They were able to get them moved into a hive, and all that's left is sweet reminder. Walter dug another nice hill of potatoes before picking this morning's tomatoes. His cucumbers are now starting to cover the top of his caged deep mulch garden and are hanging down for the easiest picking of the season. This is great, Walter, and what a nice haul. Thank you for sharing. Look, we got a little pumpkin down in here. Weren't those incredible? I'm telling you, our friends and neighbors give me the motivation to come out here every day and do this. Cherokee Purple. I knew we had some in the mix. This is one of my favorites. This is a little different variety, but if you look here at the top, it's starting to split with all the rain that we've had. It's an ongoing thing. We're going to have to pick every day. Didn't somebody say the hardest work you do in a deep mulch garden is harvest? This is an example why. And sometimes you get a surprise like that giant zucchini, but check this out. There was a seed pack that I was not familiar with. Look how big this thing is. This thing is huge. And we're going to let it grow until the vine dies back. And I'll come back and get those in just a minute. And I thought that was going to be our big boy, but that vine got damaged in that windstorm, and I'm sure some bugs got after it also. As long as we got any leaves on that vine, I'm going to wait to harvest that. And we got another one. We'll see what we get there. Let's go on down to Texas and take a look at what's going on in Valerie's garden. From the random seeds that Valerie started, looks like you got a blushing bride lotus. That is spectacular. Not to be outdone, a container-grown pumpkin, 14 pounds. Rob, that is awesome. What an excellent idea for a fountain. Valerie said she had to share some of her grapes with the birds, about a 50-50 split. As always, every direction is filled with goodness. And there's a bunch of seedlings on the sideline ready to take up positions where the harvest comes in. Rob, Valerie, thank you. Your garden is simply blessed. Starting to get a couple really nice Anaheims coming on. I'm not going to take those for a little while. They can get much bigger than that. Our purple patch of sweet potatoes have taken off nicely. And you can do this too. I hope this list has helped you. And if you've never planted anything in before in your life, get a container, put a little soil in it, add a couple seeds and some water, and you can be eating in the next 60 to 70 days. Yeah, I know, I should have brought a container. But who would have known I was going to be bringing in cordwood? And you'll be amazed what homegrown vegetables taste like. I want to thank you for stopping by and helping celebrate our friends and neighbors around the world, and I hope you consider joining us. If you want to learn about the deep mulch, click that link right there and I'll meet you back here in the garden. If you want to learn about living soil, click that link right there and I'll meet you right back here in the garden. And until next time, remember, take care of yourself, take care of your family, and God bless you. Come on, let's plant.
Let's go plant garden.